I'm going to start this one off by telling you the most uncomfortable truth in this entire field, right at the top, and then we'll spend the rest of the episode making peace with it. You cannot be completely secure. Not you specifically, nobody. No company, no government, no person. There is no configuration, no budget, no product, no genius hire that is going to make you completely secure. Full stop, done, safe. It does not exist. Anyone who tells you they can make you completely secure is selling you something. And what they're selling you is a feeling. Welcome back. I'm the architect. Last episode, we covered the 3 laws: confidentiality, integrity, availability. And we ended on the trap that catches everyone. You cannot perfectly protect all 3 across every door on an attack surface that never stops growing. It's not possible. The resources don't exist. So if perfect security is off the table, what are we actually doing here? We're managing risk. That's the whole job. Today, I'm going to give you the way professionals actually think. And once you have it, a great deal of confusing security behavior is suddenly going to make sense. Let's define risk, because the word gets thrown around carelessly. Risk is not a vibe. It's not how scared you feel. Risk has 2 ingredients. You multiply them together. The first is likelihood. How probable is it that a given bad thing actually happens? The second is impact. If it does happen, how badly does it hurt? Risk is those 2 multiplied, likelihood times impact. This little formula is doing enormous work, so let's sit with it. A meteor could hit your data center. The impact would be catastrophic, total, the end. But the likelihood is so vanishingly small that the risk when you multiply it out is tiny. You don't spend money defending your servers against meteors. The math says don't do it. Flip it around. An employee getting a phishing email is almost certain to happen. Likelihood enormous. But if that's all that happens, a single email arriving, the impact by itself is nearly 0. An email sitting on an inbox doesn't hurt anyone, so that alone is also low risk. The danger lives in the middle. The things that are both reasonably likely and genuinely painful. That is where risk concentrates, and that's where your attention and your money are supposed to go. This is why your security team does not fix everything. Newcomers find this maddening. There's a known weakness sitting right there. Why is it still on the list? Why hasn't someone dealt with it? Because somebody did the math. The likelihood of it being exploited is low. The impact of it being exploited is minor. The cost to fix it is high. So it sits on the list, accepted on purpose by an adult who waited. Meanwhile, the team poured that same effort into the thing that was actually going to get them hurt. That's not negligence. That's a job done correctly. A team that tries to fix everything equally is a team that will run out of resources before it gets the things that actually matter. Let me put this in terms of the kingdom, because this is exactly how any seasoned adventuring party already thinks, whether they'd use these words or not. You're crossing dangerous territory. There are monsters. There are a lot of monsters. You do not, under any circumstances, fight all of them. You'd be dead by noon. A good party triages. That goblin is weak and far away. Ignore it. That dragon is between us and the only exit. That one we have to deal with right now, whether we like it or not. That trap over there is nasty, but if we just don't step on it, it costs us nothing. Walk around it. Likelihood and impact. You are reading every threat in the room and spending your limited resources, your spell slots, your hit points, your daylight, on the ones where the math says it's worth it. You let the small stuff go. Not because you didn't see it, but precisely because you did. is risk management. You already know how to do it. You've been doing it your whole life. We're just naming it. Now, you've identified a real risk, one that lands in that painful middle. What do? Well, you have exactly 4 things that you can do about it. Only 4. Every response to every risk in existence is one of these. 1. Mitigate. Reduce the likelihood, or reduce the impact, or both. Add a control, patch the system, add the lock, train the people. This is what we usually mean when we say security. Most of this series is about mitigation. But it is one option out of 4, not the only one. 2. Transfer. Make it somebody else's problem to absorb. This is what cyber insurance is. You can't stop the bad thing from being possible, so you pay someone else to carry the financial damage if it happens. You transfer the impact. 3. Avoid. Just don't do the risky thing. The feature is too dangerous and not worth it? Don't build it. Don't collect that sensitive data in the first place, and then there's nothing to steal. You can't lose what you never held. 4. Accept. Look the risk dead in the eye, decide that dealing with it costs more than just living with it, and consciously choose to carry it. This is the one that most people, most companies struggle with, because it sounds like giving up. It isn't. Accepting a small and well-understood risk on purpose is how you free up the resources to crush the big one. The unforgivable thing is not accepting risk. The unforgivable thing is accepting it by accident, because you never looked. Mitigate, transfer, avoid, accept. That's the menu. So here's the core lesson. Write this one on the wall. Security is not the absence of risk. It is the management of risk down to a level you've consciously decided you can live with. That word, consciously, is the whole thing. The mature organization isn't the one with no risk. That place doesn't exist. The mature organization is the one that knows exactly what risks it's carrying, decides to carry them on purpose, and can tell you why. And think back to the last episode. The reason you can't just maximize all 3 laws everywhere is risk. Locking the vault tighter for confidentiality has a cost. And someone, somewhere, a person, has to decide whether that cost is worth it, given how likely a theft really is and how badly it's going to hurt. Every one of those balancing acts we talked about is a risk decision wearing a different hat. All right, your quest objective for this episode. Think of one risk in your own life. Driving is a perfect example. It has real likelihood and real impact. Now notice that you are managing it with all 4 tools at once without ever thinking about it. You mitigate. You wear a seatbelt. You transfer. You carry insurance. You avoid. You don't drive in the ice storm. You accept. Because you still get in the car knowing full well it's never 0. You are already a risk manager. You're an excellent one. You just didn't know you had the job title. Now, we've said impact a lot today, and I've been a little vague on purpose. Because to actually judge the impact of something being stolen, you have to know what it's worth. And it turns out, in the kingdom, not all treasure is created equal. Some of it's gold. Some of it's worthless to you and priceless to a thief. And some of it is so dangerous that the law itself gets involved. Next time, we open the vault and sort the treasure. What data is actually worth stealing and why? I'm the architect. We'll talk soon.